And I wanted to give a little bit of context for the scene that I'm going to read. My protagonist, Lydia, has many different adventures, oral sex and otherwise, and paying special attention to the ring of muscle around the hole. The sensations were so exquisite, so engulfing, my whole body trembled. "Is it the custom for your husband to touch you back here?" the professor inquired, his voice husky. "No, he never does." I sensed this was the answer he wanted, although in this case, it was also the truth. "Such a pity to ignore what we can surely call the seat of human pleasure," he murmured. A pun? I almost laughed, but was distracted by a new sensation, his hands pulling my ass cheeks wide. I braced for his touch, but felt only warmth, as if a feeble sun were shining on that hidden place for the very first time. I could tell he was staring at me, studying me. Dozens of men had seen my vulva, but this was the first time my ass, in truth, my most secret part, had gotten such professional attention. I squirmed uneasily. The professor guessed my thoughts. "Do not be ashamed. You are very beautiful, so clean and pink and beautiful." I felt my asshole plump up, reveling in the compliments. His finger grazed the opening. I whimpered and wiggled like a little dog happily greeting her master. Could it be I had a second clit hiding back there undiscovered all these years? "May I kiss you here?" How could I pass that up? "Yes, please." I gasped at the contact, the pillow's soft warmth pressing against that exquisitely sensitive area. The first kiss was chaste, a smack of lips against my tiny mouth. Then came the tongue rolling over my ass crack like molten silk. My knees buckled. I clutched at the smooth, damp floor, nearly sobbing with desire. He circled closer to the sweet spot, his tongue flicking and gliding. "Now, push open," he commanded softly. I moaned again in shame and desire. Had I ever done anything more perverse or more exciting? And so I pushed, gingerly at first, then harder, opening myself wider and wider, hungry to be seen, filled, loved. My pussy and clit ached in sympathy, longing for his touch. His lips were on me again, and I fought to keep myself open through the hot, ticklish sensation as he kissed me French style, the tip of his tongue darting into the opening, in and out, in and out. I could feel it in my toes, my teeth, and most of all in my cunt, which throbbed and drooled with envy. "Touch me in the front, too, please?" The professor pulled away, taking the warmth and softness with him. My body stiffened in regret. "You are the expert," he whispered. "I would not presume." I groaned, too desperate to argue that this was no time to be modest about his abilities. But maybe it did make sense to let him concentrate on his specialty, while I focused on mine. I slipped my hand between my legs, just as he resumed his attentions to my behind. The whole lower half of my body hummed in stereo, front and backside burning, tingling, spinning round and round the twin poles of my finger and his tongue. Still, I wanted more. Surely he did, too. Given his connoisseur's enthusiasm for anilingus, butt-fucking would very likely be another one of his areas of expertise. "Please, Sensei, would you make love to me back there?" He paused in his work. "I would like that very much," he faltered, "but it is not my role to interfere. I must only pleasure you in a manner your husband does not." My husband? Why did he have to bring that up at a time like this? But the image that flashed into my head like a warning was not Yuji's face. Instead, I saw the figure of the star-being demon at the bridge, grasping at something warm and sweet, careless of the cost. I knew exactly how that creature felt. The professor laid a soothing hand on my back. He seemed to understand. "I will try my best to make you happy. Remember, this is all a dream, the brief dream of a spring night." He parted my cleft gently. I opened myself to his tongue, his promises. Because, of course, the professor was right. It was just like a dream. My lover had no name. He didn't even have a face now. He was nothing but sensation, a fantasy man like all the others. And my fantasy man always knows exactly what I want. He knows to tease my crack with cat-like lapping motions while my finger finds its rhythm on my clit again. He senses from the way my thighs shake, from the helpless mewing sounds in my throat, that the pressure is building inside me. I know my orgasm is near, and he does too, because he's flicking my taut lips back there, up and down, just like I'm flicking my own clit. And then, finally, I feel it coming, pounding hard on sharp, burning hooves, galloping up from my asshole, exploding from my throat in a sobbing whinny of ecstasy. And when my fantasy lover stands and shoots hot spunk all over my back and ass with an otherworldly cry, when he wipes me clean with tender strokes of the bathing towel, even then, after my own pleasure has faded, I tell myself, it's a dream, the kind I've had 1,000 times before. A horny housewife lets a complete stranger lick her ass in a hot spring bath. It's a fantasy, of course. What else could it be?